Welcome once again, everybody, to the West Coast Trios Wrestling Podcast. I am Tony, your host for today. On my right, we got the California Rattlesnake. How we doing, Cali?
What up? What up? What up?
And to my left, we got my main man, my other tag team partner here, Mondonium. How we doing?
How you know? How you know?
Uh, I know because you're my brother, I guess.
Well, there goes my spunky. There we are. Got his little.
Good evening, guys. Hopefully you guys had a nice couple of days since we last met. I know we had a lot to talk about over the weekend, and now we're in a brand new week. It is Monday Night Raw, and then we are going to be talking about AEW's Dynamite. We'll start off with WWE's Raw. We had a couple of matches there, not a lot, but a lot to kind of talk about there. The first match we had the King of the Ring qualifier match. We had Carmelo Hayes, Solo Sikoa, and Penta versus Obafemi in a four-way. Very good match. We saw Obafemi winning that. Pretty impressive. And then we got a tag team match. It was Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Rusev and Ethan Page. Another nice match. And we had Rey and Dragon Lee winning that one. And then we had on the other end, we had the women's first round matchup with Io Sky, Julia, Latch Legend, and Roxanne Perez, with Io Sky coming out on top there. And then in the main event, we had Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker in a PLE type of match, which really good. With Seth Rollins coming out on top right there. Four matches, a lot of substance there. There's a lot of action, but kind of only four versus AEW, and we'll get into that later on with you, Mondo, and you can bring that up. But I think my biggest takeaway there was having, and I think I keep on talking about it, having like the trios matches that AEW has. It's a little different now, where now it's the King of the Ring. We're used to seeing a tournament where it's one-on-one. We're seeing that in AEW right now with the Owen Hart tournament. I really like having the four men in the ring all battling at the same time. Gives something different there, and I really enjoyed not just the men's, but then the women's match too. Mondo, I'll ask you, like, did you feel like, the King of the Ring tournament kind of was a little bit different this time around
It,
versus previous?
they got rid of the. I'm not sure if it's the tournament aspect, right? They got rid of that and doing a four-way, which is different, and I think it just gets straight to the point. Sometimes some of these tournaments, you can kind of uh, not knocking that tournaments are predictable, but just sometimes they don't go the way certain fans want it to go. Case in point, and we'll talk about that later with AEW and Collision. But seeing that, it's refreshing for what it is, and their take on the King of the Ring. Just I like it. Again, something different, something refreshing for both the men and the women. So kudos to WWE trying to trying something new for once. And Obafemi, I believe, came out on top on this one, which is good to see. So you're pushing your young talent, something we've always been talking about, like with WWE, is pushing and catapulting young stars that have that momentum. And hopefully, knock on wood, if you guys are listening here to our podcast, thank you, because we're all high on Obafemi here in this podcast, so it's good to see that.
Yeah, me too. Miguel, uh, for you, what did you think about the like overall presentation of Monday Night Raw? What was your biggest takeaway from seeing Monday Night Raw this past Monday?
Yeah, so I first have to just say I have to second what Manda was saying about pushing Oba and I know he has his storyline with well, I won't even say he has a storyline with Brock, but the whole thing with the Beast, right? And so oftentimes we see some of those stories just get either taken or sunken down by that, and that's it. Despite whether the wrestler is good or great or whatever it is, and so the fact that you know the high of him beating the beast, then coming down, but then we know the beast isn't a full-time wrestler, so you let him still run wild. I That's the one thing that I appreciated too of Raw this Monday, because like we said, not only are we high on Oba, but we're high on just the thought of this is what WWE needs, is not only their fresh faces, but the push of their new wrestlers, you know.
Yep.
So I just that was with Mondo, that was one of my biggest highlights, because I'm pretty big on that. I'm pretty big on wanting to see the new guys get pushed or new storylines come up, and something different, different angles or different perspectives or something. And now we're starting to see a tad bit of that, which is great.
Yeah. I certainly enjoyed like the beginning of that match where you see Obafemi coming down, and then all of a sudden everybody's trying to gang up on him, and he's like,
Mhm.
decking them. He's taking everybody's punishment, but then he's decking them, and then he still has time to do his pose. And I was like, man, that's just telling you like the WWE still wants to push him, like you said, Miguel, regardless of what happened versus the Beast, he still is going to be a beast in his own right, and we saw that against everybody with Solo, Penta, and Carmelo Hayes. And I the aspect of having Carmelo Hayes out there, I thought was really cool because he's like a SmackDown guy, so is Solo, but having them come out on this tournament, it like you said, Mondo mixes everything up and it's something different. And the same goes with the ladies a wrestling match because Julia, I think she just got a complete makeover, different look to her original style that she had in NXT. And if we keep saying this, if you guys haven't seen her perform in NXT or overseas, she's a very dominant female wrestler. And she's one of those wrestlers that I feel like with this makeover, new, going back to her original look, that they'll unleash her and she can become a beast like she was before entering the grounds of WWE. And I was very happy to see that. Very happy for Io Sky. I think this is the first match back since she got married. So
To who?
congratulations to her. And her husband, Evil, out there in NXT right now. Well, and he goes by a different name.
We don't care about that name. I think it's stupid. Just call him Evil, please.
Yeah, I call him
Jesus.
Evil. He's always gonna be evil. But then in the main event, I really enjoyed this Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. Amando,
Yes.
you were kind of giving kudos to that. As an AEW type of guy, like you really said, hey, this was a really good match.
Not only was it a good match, PLE style match, man. It's one of those you don't use this too often. I know I don't use it, but instant classic. If you miss this match, go back and watch it. Very entertaining from beginning to end. Lots of things going on there. The storytelling, just the overall athleticism between these two wrestlers. You're doing yourself a disservice by not watching. And this coming from an AEW guy, go watch it. Hopefully they, as in WWE, can keep the momentum with this type of main event. Um, can speak volumes moving forward, and they can go back to being must watch. You know, I don't know if it's TV or I don't know what you call it because it's streaming, must see streaming. Um, if they can do more main events in that way, you know, again, can't have it all the time going all out, but just having it a consistent basis. Not every match is going to be an instant classic, as long as they're great, and if the two performers in the main event can keep your attention for that long, like it did with me, kudos. I really like this.
Miguel, you felt the same way, like the crowd, and then we go back to your personal experiences going overseas. going seeing soccer matches in different parts of the world, New England, and you've been to Spain and you've been to Amsterdam. Like, what is it about these crowds that just keeps on having that vibe going? What is it about that you've seen that you feel it?
Yeah, it's just it all just comes down to the one word which I think any sports person knows is just passion. You just gotta have passion. Yeah, I mean you can put on a show anywhere in the world. I mean, let's be honest. You can set up a ring anywhere in the world and people will come out. It's really the passion, the pockets of communities where where these companies find where exactly to throw these shows, right? I mean, this is why for the last couple decades, WWE has been so successful. It's not just throwing shows because they can at different arenas. They go and back to specific places, specific areas because they understand the reception that they're gonna get. And so I just think it just has to do a lot with passion, and so when passion meets entertainment, that's where you get the best of both worlds.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And one of the from looking at Monday Night Raw and then listening to that crowd, sometimes the one thing that like came to mind is we, as we live in America, we live in the United States. Some of the crowd chants that they do overseas, we kind of end up adopting it over here. So one of the you know again, the beast, I go back to Brock Lesnar. He will come out from time to time, but I was already thinking we as an American audience, we're gonna start chanting his theme song because that's everybody was chanting the theme song when he came out. The the oh, I can't even do it myself, but I'm like,
Yeah,
you know
that
what I
was
mean?
way off.
It's just that was way off. But these unique chants that they come up with each year. I mistakenly said France the first time around, but that was last year, and they did the thing with AJ Styles, with it. He's like phenomenal. He's phenomenal. And this year, I thought, oh, it's gonna be the Brock Lesnar song that they're coming out, and then they're saying ole 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 ole,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was like Penta Penta, or somebody else, and I'm like, okay, I think we're gonna probably adopt some of those chants, and I'm like, man, it's just it's cool to see that type of passion that those type of audience brings to the house, and I think we just kind of take it from them. So I wouldn't be surprised whenever they come back from the states, to the states, that we're gonna probably adopt any of those chants. So
Mm-hmm.
kudos to the crowd in Italy over there.
Like, how do you think they just get together? It's just amazing how they just do it in unison. You know what I mean? One friend tells one friend, and then another, and another, and another. Wayne's
Uh,
World reference, guys. Come on.
but yeah, it just that's how it is.
Yeah.
It just I
Mm,
understand why, Miguel, you go over there
it's
to
amazing.
go watch soccer games over there because you want to be in that. You want to be part of the crowd. You want to chant because you love the game and you love the atmosphere of the crowd. And I think that's one of the dreams that I would love to have, is just go over there and maybe I think we back in the day, I know we had I had the opportunity, because you did invite, hey, let's go watch a soccer game. I should have jumped on the chance. But seeing how things still are the way that things are, I would love to see a wrestling event out there and be part of that crowd. Even though I may not understand, or maybe I don't, but I would love to be a part of that one day. So not that we don't do it here in the States, we do it, we do chant, but it's not as cool and I think out there and overseas. So that's just my opinion. That's just, if you guys have your opinions and you think that, hey, you know what, American crowds might be a little bit more better, again, put your comments down there, and then hopefully we get your feedback on that. But yeah, overall, I think one thing that kind of also we never touched on is the bloodline. They didn't really have a match there, but then the story continues, and we had our good friend Jacob Fatu, Callie, in terms of acknowledgement. um did you enjoy that portion where he finally acknowledged the tribal chief?
Yes and no. I still stand by what I said last time about this storyline. They're just dragging this on too long. You know, they they need to sit down and figure something out with this storyline, man. You know, they really need to figure something out because I just feel like right now we're going back in circles, and it's like we just seen this a year and a half ago, right? When they were all together and then they split. Then Solo started rebelling. Like we're not seeing anything different. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, we're just doing a cycle again. And it's like how are we getting by with this type of product? And everyone's just kind of like, oh yeah, it's great. It's like, let's be real. It's not, you know? And yeah, I just I'm disappointed. I'm just a little bit disappointed how they're taking a direction with all this. Right now would have been a perfect time for Jacob Fatu to pop smoke for a bit. You know, I'm not saying he's injured or anything. Pop smoke for a little bit, let him re-energize, bring him back midsummer, but let him do his own thing. Yeah, he acknowledges the chief, but maybe from a distance. Yeah, he acknowledges the family, but now he does it from a distance. And he's Jacob Fatu, not Jacob Fatu with the bloodline, just Jacob Fatu. He has that aura. He has the talent. But again. Here we go again with Solo rebelling, and now we have Jacob Fatu. Once again, we're back in this storyline. So we'll see what happens.
Monty feel the same way.
I feel the same way. I was looking forward, just like Miguel said, maybe there was going to be some dynamic, some difference, like a defining moment for Jacob Fatu, and it should have been this Monday Night Raw, saying, "I'm still not going to acknowledge you. You still got to beat it in me." But we didn't get that. Just like Miguel said, we're getting the same story. It's Solo Sikoa 2.0, basically. To me, right now, he's not Jacob. He's not even a werewolf, whatever. You're just a little puppy, dude. And it sucks whether, like Miguel said, whether he's injured or not. We don't want to, put that speculation out there. But I do agree where we should have seen something out of Jacob, as in being more defiant. I mean, he came out and he was only defiant to one of the Uso brothers. Who was it? It's
I think it's
Jonathan, right?
Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
Jay.
And
And it's not his fault.
yeah,
Like let's just make this clear. Like none of this is his fault, but it's just
bad
uh
creative.
you
You know,
like you said it perfectly. I mean, we're looking at essentially a second Solo Sikoa. And hey, we I mean, you said it perfect right now. We just finished seeing him as this dangerous werewolf, Samoan werewolf, and now because the storyline took a turn for who knows what kind of turn, now we categorize him as, oh, okay, well, he's another person that fell into the bloodline. That to me is kind of sad, man. Like he has talent, and again, he has aura. He has aura, man. Again, championship aura or big championship. That's not my job. That's not what I do, right? But I could recognize when someone has talent and when someone walks down that ramp and he gets the best of both worlds. Either people love him or people hate him.
the
And
crowd
to
loved
me,
him.
and to me, again, they're in a business, not where, excuse me. They're in a business where they're not just selling wrestling. They're selling their mouth, they're selling their act, they're selling how they can walk, how they can talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So they're selling essentially all these different parts of them that always has to be on point, or for the better half now, with all the knowledge and everyone sharing wrestling education and wrestlers getting better by the day, you need to be on point in every single one, man. If not, you don't hit it. And Jacob Fatu, ever since he came in, has hit every single one. And just to see again his storyline just go into a full circle Solo Sikoa moment, that's where it kind of just it halted for me. If I wasn't already drawn out of the whole line, that whole storyline, the way it went down Monday Night Raw halted it for me. that's where I'm like, I'm done with this.
which is weird. It's I don't know if you guys saw online how the story of the bloodline is taking longer now, or is being told longer than the whole storyline of the NWO, which I'm actually wearing the t-shirt of. The whole NWO taking over and the way it ended, in WCW. It's longer than that. I think it said it's even longer than your 4-year stint in high school. Like, this is literally like it's when you were a freshman until you graduated, you're still acknowledging the tribal chief when you graduated and whatnot. I think, yeah, the story is being dragged on a little bit. I think that at the end, I'm kind of seeing similarities to the story between Solo and Jacob, where I think it was Money in the Bank, I believe, where Solo almost had that briefcase, and then Jacob, pulled the rug right on underneath him, and then kind of like went after him. I think I think the best thing that like will happen is a turn by Jacob Fatu. And there's a lot of possibilities there, but I understand that, yeah, maybe the bloodline is being rehashed again. This is bloodline 2.0, and I think I don't want to get too much into the politics of WWE in terms of like TKO and all that, making money type of thing, but I it's still creating a lot of buzz, and I think Mondo, you wanted to say something?
But didn't NWO have a continuation run in WWE?
Yeah,
That didn't add that to the 4 years.
based on what I saw now,
Damn. Okay.
I know what you mean. Yeah, but yeah, I saw it. We went the WCW route. But yeah, just maybe it's kind of like Saved by the Bell, the college years. Nobody really cared.
Yeah. Well,
But
only cared for Kelly Kapowski, though. But,
but
was she
anywho,
in there? I don't remember. See,
but
no, she dated the professor. Yeah.
another episode of
Anyways,
WWE Raw
going off topic.
has shut its doors,
You're
and then
muted.
we'll wait until next week. I think they're still overseas for
what is it?
another show, and then again they'll be up at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 11 a.m. in the morning. But we'll wait until next week, see what happens, and then on to SmackDown. All right, so on to AEW's Dynamite. Another jam-packed 2.5 hour show. Mondo, you want to give us a quick rundown of what matches occurred in AEW?
So we'll do a quick rundown of the matches there. The opening match was the AEW World Championship, no countouts. So we had MJF versus El Toro Blanco Rouge. We see MJF getting the victory over El Toro Blanco. And then we had Mark Briscoe defeating my boy, Leo Rush. I know that's Miguel's favorite, trust me. And then let's see here. We had the real Latino man, El Ídolo, versus the local jobber there, Van Du. Took him out really quick there, so we know Andrade was the victor there. And then we had the Jet, Kevin Knight, defending his TNT title versus, thank God he did not come out in that karate suit this time around. But he defeated Speedball Mike Bailey. Interesting twist, though. And we'll get to that because that was one of my main points there with the Jet, Kevin Knight. Just a little brief synopsis there. He joining the Don Callis family. And then we had a Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament quarterfinal. We had the wild card defeating Alex Windsor, and the wild card was everybody's favorite. Do you want to do the dance? There we go. We got Mercedes Moné coming back, showing a good outing there. And then the main event, we saw another. To me, I still say the WWE main event with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I think, to me, and you're not going to hear me say this often, I like WWE's, but their main event, but for AEW, it was a solid outing for both Will Ospreay and the AEW National Champion Mark Davis of the Don Callis family. A lot of run-ins in this one. Like wow. But overall it was enjoyable, but like I said, I preferred Monday Night Raw's main event. So I'm gonna get that out of the way. Yes, you're hearing that correctly. An AEW guy is actually praising WWE this time. Um, but I want to talk about some good talking points here, especially since we were discussing the Jet last week and how he kind of needed to not only recreate himself but get in the heel aspect, because I believe he can be a good heel. And this was a really good turning point with joining the Don Callis family. But before that, let's just take. I just want to set everything up because once Andrade, the real Latino man, beat the Jobber, he pretty much called out MJF and saying, "I want to be next for the AEW title." But then, excuse me, coffee's hitting me. He gets interrupted by Don Callis, and you can see the frustration on Andrade. And then when Callis comes out into the ring and introduces the newest member of the Don Callis family, he was so excited his dentures came out flying. And you can see that he grabs him with his hand and just like pops him back in. But it was the Jet Kevin Knight. And when he came out, I got to tell you guys, he came out with more swagger, more confidence. And I liked that. I was like, okay, all right, let's see where this goes. His jacket, I don't know if you guys read it or saw what it said, but it was like the one, just like the number one, maybe taking a shot at the one tribal chief, is the one you look up to. So I was like, hey, that's I like that. That's showing me a little bit of cockiness and something that he really needed. And now that he has a quote unquote a mouthpiece with Don Callis to speak for him, I think that's going to do wonders because, like Miguel said, and he's always said this, and it's true, not only are you selling your athleticism, your character, but your vocal skills and how entertaining can you be. And some of these guys, it can be hard for them to admit that they do need a mouthpiece, but who better than Don Callis? Paul Heyman. Neither here nor there. But in the company with AEW, if you're with Don Callis and he's able to talk and hype you up, perfect. I'm all up for this move. I want to see where this goes because Kyle Fletcher's in the family and he wants that TNT title back. So there's an interesting dynamic there. Are they going to clash again, just like they did with Okada and Takeshita? But we'll see. Again, we don't want another 2.0 of anything, but it's good to see having like in family feuds, but let's take it in a different direction. That way it doesn't become like the same thing, like, oh, you got my belt. We already saw that with Takeshita and Okada. Let's see how they can spice things up and kind of change the dynamic a bit. But all up for this change. I really like it. What do you guys think with the Jet Kevin Knight beating Karate Gi, Speedball Mike Bailey, and what ensued there with him joining the Don Callis family?
You want to take that one or?
Yeah, I can say a few stuff. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I agree. It'll be interesting to see how Kevin Knight adjusts with the Don Callis family. Obviously, Don Callis, everyone knows, has pipes. So, we know he's a great speaker. Not only a great speaker, he's a great commentator.
Do I have the scar?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting move. We'll see what comes about of that. I think right now this is a perfect time for Speedball to take maybe a tad bit of a break, and then just maybe come back. Maybe not as something else, but
Don't wear that karate suit.
how do I
ever
want
again.
to say it? There's someone that is mentoring me in music right now, who has been in the game for a very long time, and he told me, "You're making great music, but I know you can push more. Like, I know you can get the extra 10% out of that record." That's what I'm trying to say about Speedball, that he's great, he's athletic, He's agile. He everything, even his gimmick, he sells it well. But I know that there's an extra 10% in him that maybe he can come up with maybe something better, maybe enhance the speedball character better, or something. I just don't know. I'm not in that world. But what I'm referring to, just to go back to again, is that extra 10%. I the same way I get told that, there's sometimes I feel like wrestlers need to hear that, take a step back, and then bring that extra 10%. Because it's all about when you take a step back and kind of be quiet, or just look around, or just even listen sometimes. When you start to figure out, okay, maybe this is what I need to do, maybe that's what I need to do, or. And I think funny that we're talking about, right? Different storylines, completely different wrestlers, but the same thing. Perfect time. They're both on losing streaks. For them to just dip away for a bit, work on their characters or work on their storyline. In case of Fatu, it's more of a storyline than character. And in the case of Speedball, I think it's a mixture of both character and storyline that he needs to kind of fix or beef, because it can't be this whole thing of I was just wrestling with Kevin Knight and then now we're beefing. Like you said, Mondo, how many times have we seen that? Like, I get that that's part of wrestling. I understand that, right? But what I'm saying is, also as fans, when are we gonna say, okay, that storyline is enough? Bring that storyline back in 10 years. Maybe that's gonna be fun again. But right now, we're seeing it too often, man. We're seeing these beefs happen between each other too often. Like, let's get it going with other wrestlers, man.
Yeah, I'm the only thing I can think of is wow, you guys like talked about it and it came into fruition in terms of having Kevin Knight get his character to where it needs to be, because you both were like ah, last week you're like what the hell are we doing, and then hopefully I don't know, like it just came to fruition. You guys called it. I'm kudos to both of you guys, because this is what you wanted to see out of Kevin Knight. This is the direction you guys wanted to see. And yeah, and I think Speedball, maybe that nice matchup between each other kind of might be the culmination of that mini storyline, and maybe Kevin and I can go off to somewhere else now, and then Speedball can just kind of take a hike for a second, in a good way. I'm not saying in a bad way, but I think to elevate Kevin Knight, you want to give him another better opponent, a stronger opponent, maybe maybe somewhere within the conglomeration where they fight each other, and someone that will match his style, because I really like his style. He's very fast, he's very agile, and that UFO is a phenomenal finisher that he has. And I think he needs to have somebody that will match his style, so that way he can be truly a great fighting champion. But
I mean, the perfect beef that comes to mind, easy, and I understand that. Okay, how do we connect that again? That's not our job, right? We're not
yeah,
creatives. We're not the storytellers, but you have one of the best speed wrestlers on this earth in Ricochet. Why not have both of those guys beef for the next 6 months? They can anything you can do, I can do better. Have that be a storyline.
yep,
You know.
Aha!
Again, that's not my job. But this is what I'm saying. See, these are the things that I want to see. You know, this is the perfect time for him to slip away. Boom, redesign him back and start the whole Ricochet beef. You know?
yeah, and it's okay to have a fantasy booking aspect too, because that's, as a fan, that's what you're saying it right now. As a fan, you're saying, hey, I want to see this, and then we're talking about it, and if you fantasy book it, then hopefully it'll come into fruition, because that's something that will probably really put eyeballs onto the screen, and butts in seats, because they're both athletic, they're both young, and that's something different, I think, that the main difference between AEW and WWE is the usefulness that AEW has and the athleticism. Yes, granted, both of them are very, very talented and very, very athletic, but I think I give that a little bit more over to AEW because of the way that they put in their shows day in and or week in, week out, versus WWE. And I understand there's in terms of WWE, there's more of a they're superstars, so you want to make sure that the longevity portion of that, and they go maybe a little bit more all out on PLEs. Uh, but in AEW, the plethora, again, I said this again, the plethora of talent that AEW had, the usefulness. Somebody comes in, you'll have somebody else come in next week. They'll take over somebody. So like for Kevin Knight, you'll saw Speedball. Hopefully next week it's somebody brand new, and then you'll see that clash. Hopefully with the Ricochet, and I will be 100% on board if that does happen because I think the athleticism will be off the charts, and Mondo's beautiful, bald.
Yeah, we
Move,
need a title for us bald people here. But let's not forget who was the third man in that trios championship team with Speedball and the Jet. Maybe we can see a returning Místico coming back and maybe beef with the Jet and just say, "Hey, que cabrón! Like, what's going on?" You know?
Yeah, don't they have a Mexico tour coming up as well, right?
Grand Slam.
They announced one too.
Mexico Grand Slam. Yep.
So maybe that'll be another fantasy booking right there, like Mondo said, that maybe Mystico will come out and
About to call him his WWE name.
So but overall I think it's a good direction. I think it's a really good direction for Kevin Knight there. So kudos to both of you guys for calling that out. So I give you guys credit for that one.
Thank you. We do have our moments here, you know.
One thing that you mentioned that first match, Mondo, the MJF versus Roosh, very, very hardcore style of a match. It was fun. And they got a little dirty there. But we saw some good wrestling there. Unfortunately, I don't know if you guys heard, but MJF got injured delivering, I think it was the
pile driver. Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was kayfabe. Maybe it was just, but
I thought so too.
So he did get injured.
So he got injured. So he got pulled from the tour that they're doing right now. But hopefully he'll be back next week. But because he landed on that barricade after was it a spear?
It was Roosh missing his
it was a drop kick.
The drop kick outside. So the barricade fell. And once I saw that, in my head, I'm like, why are we, don't get me wrong, like, it's good to see those, but you're the champ. I can see Darby doing that and him getting up okay. But I how can I put it this way? Yes, sometimes MJF does show his, you can say his indie side of wrestling. But right now, you're the champ and you want longevity. Even him trying to do that jumping tombstone pile driver, he was second guessing himself. And you can see Rush, I believe, if my memory serves me correct, he kept tapping his leg like, hey, you might want to reconsider this, because him being upside down, I noticed, and I saw something there too when you see the match, and he's just trying to, like, give him like a heads up, like, hey, try not to do this, don't do this. But MJF, against, the advice of Roosh, did it, and then we see him, in agonizing pain. And at first I'm like, okay, he sold it, but then you can see when he was trying to put some pressure on that left leg, he wasn't doing too good. But I feel like Rush was trying to tell him, hey, let's not do this, because it was somewhat elevated and it had a weird, like, you can see the board.
Yeah, it's a bar within the barricade, and I think his knee landed squarely on top of that barricade. When he did that tombstone pile driver, and you can clearly see him go after his knee after that, and I'm like, okay, the same here. I saw that, and I'm like, okay, that's he's probably legitimately injured because, they like you want to protect yourself. You have the knee braces, the knee pads. But to see that, I was like, oh man, I thought originally it was it was a legitimate injury there. So it turns out it was for a second. So like I said, that was a really good match. Unfortunately, he got hurt. You want to be a fighting champion. You called out El Idolo, calling him out.
You even got Mark Briscoe calling him out too.
Oh, Mark Briscoe, and like he's I don't know. Yeah, right. I don't know, Miguel. Like he comes out and and he's like, I want to get you, homie, and this and that, and I'm like, well, they got to give this guy some legitimacy, because I just feel like he's just out there rambling and nobody really cares about a Briscoe over here. And I mean, I don't know, but I don't know if he's wasting his time or he's ultimately gonna just fail. But I don't know. I think they're trying to push him, but obviously, duh, because he's wanting to do after the belt too. But I don't know. It's just that's a weird one for me.
Yeah, I just think that they just need to just keep doing what they're doing in terms of bringing fresh talent and pushing the new talent. I mean, I hate to say it, but uh, wrestling operates 20 years behind every other sport in terms of every sport looks at youth as a gold mine. Like, okay, our absolute best product is going to come out of the youth. You know, occasionally you have your veterans, they'll show the game. And in wrestling, it's the opposite. It's screw the youth. Let's keep the 46-year-old and let's give him another 3-4 years of another run. And I get it. A lot of people are gonna be like, hey man, you sound bitter or angry. But one, listen, I don't lose any sleep off of this. So I'm not bitter, I'm not angry. I'm just calling for what it is. And it's the truth. If you look at, I know we're speaking about AEW, but just so we can make the comparisons. If you look at WWE's roster, every superstar is 35 and above. And I say 35 lightly because that's the same, around the same age I'm at, right? And the difference is they put their body through a lot worse. So I understand that. But what I'm saying is, okay, let's look at the top tier superstars. Cody, Roman, all those other guys, they're 40 plus, right? We were just saying this in the sense of when you go through a story and 4 years later and you're still raising your hand to the chief, 5 years later and we're still doing the same thing to the chief, that, like, when are we gonna wrap that up? And so I just think
Never. Let's get it.
Until my finger gets tired
just
pointing
think
up.
AEW does a well job. They always have since the beginning. Push their new guys, and they do it well. They do a
Yeah,
mix of
agreed.
pushing the new guys, and they do a mix of still showing their old talent, making sure that they get their shine. And I love that. But more than anything, every other week, Mondo can be testimony. There's always one or two wrestlers where, yeah, you may not know their name, but they're getting a shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like WWE where your shot is you're an extra holding the torch at WrestleMania for Roman Reigns. That's not a shot. Like, you spend a year at the Performance Center and you're being told, hey, yeah, you're going to WrestleMania, but as an extra to hold this for the wrestler. Like, how insulting is that? And that's what I mean. It's AEW does such a great job with balancing old with new. But in terms of Briscoe, I feel like they're trying to balance that line of still keeping him and then still wanting them to do whatever direction that they want to do, right? So we'll see what happens with Briscoe. I feel like he would do good if they showcase him more in TNA. I feel like he would fit the whole TNA attitude versus the main roster at AEW.
Yeah, he his promo was trying to get the crowd to cheer him on. Speaking of his brother and his depression, so to speak, when he passed away, and then how he felt good that MJF wasn't there. Now that MJF is back, he's very mad at him, and so now he wants to kick his ass. And it's a nice little foundation, and wanting to give reason why you want to go after him, and I get it, but I just feel like I don't know. It doesn't. I'm sorry, but it doesn't really resonate with me there with Briscoe, and if he does get a shot, cool, but I just don't see him winning or beating up on MJF. Maybe on another title, he'll probably pick that up. And again, I'm not, no offense to Mark Briscoe, but I just don't see him winning and getting over. As I mean, he is over, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, Mondo. I'm sorry. I don't know if you like, hey, you are higher on Briscoe than both of us, but I just don't feel like he's gonna elevate MJF even more. Maybe he does need that rub.
But why, Tony? You got to put me in that situation because he's the younger brother of the two, just like myself. I don't know, but the word of the day is respect. R-E. I can't even fucking spell right now. I'm so tired, but yeah, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do the deer in headlights look. They should have pulled the trigger on him when sadly his brother passed away when he was signed into AEW. But just talking all seriously, love
Yeah.
Mark Briscoe because I can relate to the character, you and I being brothers. Tragic what happened to his brother Jay Briscoe there. AEW had the biggest opportunity to capitalize on that, just the way WWE and not taking anything for granted. When Eddie passed away, Rey Mysterio, perfect example, best friend, like a brother to him. Put the title on him, biggest reaction, and that's what they should have done. But AEW didn't do it. And it's sad because I do find him somewhat entertaining and funny. The way he just talks, man. He's from uh, Delaware. What is it? I forget his hometown at the moment, but yeah, man, he's just like your overall average guy, and I like that. It's kind of like you said, Tony. It was a little disappointing that the crowd didn't get behind him. Um, he was making some good points about MJF, but I just felt, again, we were talking about this earlier. U.S. crowds. Um, I don't want to say we're not intelligent, but sometimes it's like goes over our heads. Um, if this was somewhere else, like Miguel said, like if they knew that this crowd would get behind a Mark Briscoe, or if you already know which cities or which parts of the U.S. of A. can get behind him, I believe it would have been great. But again, missed opportunity, and it seems like every week in and out, he's getting his value is dropping, and that's not a good sign. I want to see more from Mark. Maybe go into a little bit serious approach with him and the conglomeration. But right now, it's just like we can't take him seriously, and that's a bummer because he does put on good matches. He is somewhat of a hardcore guy, and
Yeah.
for him to, like Miguel said, it's just like, what are they doing with this guy? Where's it going? I'm not intrigued. Are you guys intrigued? You guys are saying the same thing. We're not intrigued anymore. So, like Miguel said, go back to the drawing board. Not saying, hey, don't do this forever. Take a step back, just like he said, Miguel said. Reinvent yourself a bit. Come back and just have a new direction. Because right now, I don't see Mark having a good direction with this. It just seems like he's lost in the shuffle, and it really does suck because you had Roosh, you had or right now you have El Idolo, and then you got other top wrestlers in AEW vying for that opportunity to be the champ. And right now, I don't see Mark getting that opportunity. And if he does, it's gonna be sad to say, but it's gonna end up in a losing effort.
The and you're right. And then so and it's funny. And so I will we'll shift gears for a second, but going into his actual match that came about right after, or before he actually had that
Mhm.
promo, we won the match because he ended up, he came out to try to I think beat up on MJF, and then that's where his match, his impromptu, or maybe it wasn't impromptu, but he had that match versus
Leo Rush.
Leo Rush, and he was going, and you saw Leo Rush going, and so they were both going, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what the hell are they doing? These guys are crazy. I'm like, it was that comical aspect
Yeah,
that
and
I
he
was like,
brings that a
okay.
lot. He brings that a lot, you know?
And so I was like, okay, cool. They kind of meshed there, and they had a nice little fight.
Little exchange, you
Leo,
know?
so switching with to Leo Rush, I'm like, man, this guy, he's doing this Planet of the Apes type of run around the ring. I know Mondo, you like to talk about or talk like him from time to time, but like I don't know. Leo Rush is an interesting character. Um, Again, it's probably we've we're seeing still the evolution of this guy, and it's just I don't know. It's a little weird to me.
It's fine, Tony. Miguel, it's gonna be fine.
And I guess it's a
I gotta
T
get some
Rex.
black goo.
I guess the he's a T Rex.
Yeah.
Taking a page out of Jurassic Park. You don't see the dude, and
If you don't move, he doesn't see you.
yeah, there you go. So I'm like, oh, okay, little weird aspect, but it's all good. One thing I did wanted to bring up, it wasn't she didn't fight Tekla, the women's champion. She
Can I
she
say something?
yeah, go for it.
I love the way how Miguel like described her. Onion breath. Love that.
She came out with a pretty badass promo, talking
She
about
always
her time.
does. She always does.
And this, I talked to Mondo about this. I think she's grown on me, and I really like her promos. And being a toxic spite. Well, I don't know, onion breath. Besides that, having a pretty bomb promos here and there, and having to showcase that when what she does in the ring. And now she's starting to pick a fight with her old organization. Was it Stardom?
Yep.
And you saw that she got up and talked her smack and why she left and why she got fired. Now she has a reason, like she doesn't want to deal with these guys, and now they're gonna come into her house and gonna show them, hey, I'm gonna kill Stardom. And she hawked a big ass loogie and spit on the screen, and I'm like, wow, this girl is just like, bring it on, bitches, so to speak. But again, I'm really high on the women's division there. Miguel, I like the women's division. How are you feeling about Tekla and her being, the face of women's wrestling there?
Yeah, she's been doing great. Like I said, like you guys, I like all her promos. They're awesome. She has a lot of fire and a lot of attitude. Um, I think the division is great as well. So, it's just pretty much in line with what you said.
I love Tekla, guys. Even though she was not my pick, and I feel freaking dumb because she was initially. Then it changed. Like it's if you guys go back to the
Cheetah?
yeah, you kind of convinced me with Sheeta, but hey, that's just proves how stacked this women's division is. And like you said, Tony, she does great promos. If you listen to her since the moment she got to AEW and when she cuts these promos against anyone in that roster, wow, it gets you hooked. And after her pay-per-view matches, when they have the little media scrums with the not little, but they're pretty big with AEW on YouTube there. She's always talking about it, and I believe her. Ever since day one, it's like I'm just being myself. I don't care. You guys are gonna tell me this and that. I don't need to hear that. I'm gonna be true to myself. I'm gonna go out there and perform. And if you guys have a problem with it, the hell do I care? Like Miguel said, I'm just doing what I got to do. It doesn't bother me when I go to sleep at night. So, dude, like, she has a great mindset, and it's just like she's just doing her. And hey, kudos to her and what she's done so far in just a bit over a year and a few months there. Women's champion, just being herself and just as they say, she doubled down and bet it, she made a bet on herself, and it's working out. And will this title run ever stop? I hope not, but that would be something that I would want to see. Maybe is Athena versus Tekla, uh, all in London. But that's what I want to see, and my prediction for that is that Tekla will not lose. She will be the new and improved forever champion for AEW. So I don't see her losing that belt anytime soon. And then next
A
pay per
double
view she
champ?
loses. Not a double champ, but I'm just saying she's gonna hold on to the AEW Women's Title for. I think Athena has had her Ring of Honor title for more than 4 years now. So you'll be seeing Tekla doing pretty much the same, or and even more. So I can't
Cool.
wait. So let's see.
Cool. I think lastly for on AW the uh, continued resurgence and emergence of the aerial assassin Will Ospreay, and having that being part of that main event and actually going into, I think it's the finals, right? I think he's
Yep,
in the finals for
he
the Owen Hart
is.
Invitational, Owen Hart Foundation. Um, I think it's written in the stars right there. I think he's gonna take it all the way. There's no stopping him. I think him and that storyline with the Death Riders. I think it's a push, and I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Will Ospreay was such a killer that I don't know where he kind of like, in my eyes, kind of like where he's trying to get all this you know advice from Moxley, and I probably go back to what you said, Miguel, about Moxley having that knowledge, and he's giving it to Will Ospreay and getting him back to where he was as that aerial assassin, that killer. So I think that's what's happening, and again, I in a sense you kind of called that one, not that specifically, but in a scenario where you're seeing somebody with the knowledge and who's been a champion. Yes, Will Ospreay's been a champion too, but like I think he's looking for more of a, hey, what direction am I going to, so I could be that killer again.
The complete package, so to speak. But yeah,
Mhm.
he's
So
yeah. I mean, we all see it. It's the writing on the wall is clear, unless they do a swerve with him in the finals, because it's gonna be Swerve versus Will Ospreay, and it's gonna be on Forbidden Door. So
who?
Swerve.
Oh, Swerve. I swear I thought I heard you say Will and Will Ospreay. I'm like,
Oh
what the
no,
hell?
wait,
What?
I think I did. So, whoops. uh, Damn, I'm not elevated enough. But anyways, it'll be it'll be Swerve versus Will Ospreay in the men's Owen Hart Foundation finals there, and it's gonna be one. Oh man, it's here's the thing: we want to see Will Ospreay win, right? But man, he's gonna
Nah,
be
he's
up
winning it.
against Swerve. I know, but there's that again. There's that little doubt in my mind, in the back of my head. It's like, damn, it's Swerve though. It's Swerve. Whose
You're
house?
like, oh,
Swerve's house.
Sheeta,
Yeah,
Tekla, Sheeta.
going through that again. Oh man, but yeah, it'll definitely be Will Ospreay. I think we all want to see it. I think AEW knows that we want to see that too, and we just got to wait and see. And if they do make that call and pull the trigger, so to speak, when it comes to the men's finals there in Forbidden Door. So
Cool.
big ups to Will. Is he going to be that killer again? Get that killer instinct? Become the complete package? Just got to wait and see.
So pretty good show this time around for AW. And then we're looking forward to Collision. As we move on, is there anything you're looking forward to, Miguel, with AAA being a show away now from the big spectacular that was Noche de los Grandes?
Just curious to see what Ray has to say. He's coming out for, I don't know if an announcement or just talking to AAA to see what direction or what's going on. But yeah, just looking forward to what he has to say.
Hey guys, We're going in the right direction. 618.
Well, I hope they actually start maybe announcing some of the matches too for Triple Mania. The tickets go on sale. They're going to be going on sale, guys. Get your tickets if you guys want to check out Triple Mania AAA at the Luxor Casino in Las Vegas, September 11th, and then September 13th it'll be in Ciudad Mexico. Triple Mania is going to be a 2-night event, which is going to be really, really cool, really, really awesome. That I know we're looking forward to seeing. And Undertaker is the producer, and let's hopefully he cooks up another banger of a pay per view for or PLE for AAA there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to AAA. It'll be on YouTube. You guys check it out. It'll be fun. It'll be cool and exciting to watch some fast-paced action. And again, the thrill of the crowd is going to be cool about seeing that. And then we're going into SmackDown. I don't know what's going to happen with Cody and the title situation there. With maybe going to round 75 with Gunther. And then see what Royce Keys, if he does respond back to what Roman Reigns said and calling him out by name after beating Jacob Fatu. Maybe we'll see something along the line with Royce Keys too. That'd be cool. But yeah, another nice week of wrestling. Before we go off the air, just want to ask you guys, or maybe Mondo, maybe you might have a question. You want a little fun question? If not, I got one for you guys.
No, go for it. I'll
All
save
right,
mine
cool.
for next week. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hopefully I didn't take any thunder from you, Mondo. But we love wrestling. We enjoy it. We grew up. We've seen so many wrestlers in our lifetime so far. One of the things that gets asked around per person, and we'll do it here too. Your Mount Rushmore of wrestling, It could be past, present. It could be maybe it's 4, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to put in that 5th wrestler, if you guys want to think about that for a minute, I'll let you think about it. But Miguel, I'll probably go with you first and ask you what would your Mount Rushmore wrestling look like? Who would you put up there as your top 4 or 5 wrestlers of all time?
Oh man, I honestly would need some time to really think about this. Because it's a really big question, right? I mean, right now I'd just probably be telling you my favorite wrestlers versus who I honestly think belongs up there. Um, but yeah, I mean, just based off what I'm liking now, for sure, Stone Cold would be up there. Um, I have The Undertaker would be up there for sure. Um, Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would have to take some time, but
Okay,
but I would say why I put The Undertaker up there, and many people gonna be like, wow, like him over a lot of other people, is you have to understand The Undertaker out of any universe, he is the number one. I don't want to say it. If you really pay attention to The Undertaker, since he came into the wrestling game, he has never changed who he is. Ever. He has always been The Undertaker. And yeah, he redesigned himself ish as the badass, but still was really hints of The Undertaker. And that is one guy that you can say, wow, he learned how to play his character through and through the best, through the lows, and even reinventing himself, he still did it. And so that's why he belongs up there.
So for me, I'm gonna go in a different direction because you had different eras of wrestling. So for me, it's kind of hard to narrow it down just for in my lifetime of watching wrestling. So I'm gonna do it like this, because starting to watch wrestling as a child in the 80s, I'm gonna do my 80s top four. And this one is a no-brainer for me for the 80s. And then the 90s might get a little controversial, but I don't think it is. But for the 80s, Hulk Hogan redefined wrestling, put wrestling on the map for sure because of, Vince's idea, WrestleMania, Hulk Hogan right there in my Mount Rushmore for the 80s. Uh One person that doesn't get talked about a lot, it's always in a negative light though. I feel it's Randy Savage. I believe this guy was one of the best workers there in the 80s. And then for number three, I'm gonna go with Jake the Snake Roberts, man. We always talk about people who can perform, mic skills. The man was very methodical, just very, very dark, and the way he presented himself, it was very slow, very cool, very calculated, and just that voice, hearing him, it was just like Jesus, like oh my god, like this guy is out to kill somebody,
Trust
And
me.
then yeah, yeah, trust, and then this, I think I sent you a video, Tony, in regards to Rick Rude. Uh, Surprise there. I wanted to say Ultimate Warrior, but like you said, we were talking about this maybe earlier today. Um, when we were kids, we didn't know too much about the backstage politics. They were larger than life superheroes, and I totally agree. But as we get older, we kind of learn like, hey, the personalities, and the interesting part is hearing the backstage stories or the ongoings between certain people, and just learning more about Rick Rude and who he was and about his integrity. That strikes a core in me because I always feel like anything I do, um, it's always important to have one of those three eyes, like Kurt Angle, integrity being one of them. So those are my main four for the Mount Rushmore there. I mean, it could have gone either way. I do want to say Ric Flair, but he's in my 90s Mount Rushmore because we started seeing more of WCW, WWE, and Ric Flair. I'm going to put him up there for the 90s. Steve Austin is also up there because saw him in the 80s, doing that whole stunt with ECW and the amazing promo work. Because, Tony, there ain't no Flairs here, even though he's on Mount Rushmore. There ain't no Hogans, ain't no Savages. There's nobody to hold me back, which is Steve Austin. And love that promo. That just, like you, I get chills just thinking about that. And the number three, it's going to go with the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart. I mean, what can you say about this guy? But just revitalizing WWF, WWE at a time where they didn't trust, quote unquote, the smaller guys who were underutilized, but he brought guys like Shawn Michaels into the light, smaller people. So he made a big contribution there. And yeah, so that's Flair, Austin, Bret Hart, and then my number four, and I got to put him there, and I just talked about him, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, who just kind of elevated the Attitude Era with the help of Steve Austin. Because without those two, you don't really have an Attitude Era or Bret Hart, because all three of them um, were the catalyst. I mean, they got into these great feuds, and I know I'm not putting the Undertaker there, but he should be. But like I said, it could be controversial, but that's my 90s. And then in the 2000s, I really don't have anybody. I would just say I don't know because remember I stopped watching for a good while. When the 2010s came around, I have to put CM Punk up there because he got me back into wrestling, just like my brother did. Can I put you up there too, Tony? Because you got me back into wrestling, and then during the 2010s, it was just amazing to watch Samoa Joe. I'm gonna put Daniel Bryan up there, or Brian Danielson. So that's one, two, three, and then I'm gonna go with AJ Styles. Bullet Club, OG Bullet Club, and then in the current state that we in the 2020s, 6 years in, I'm gonna put Kenny Omega. I'm gonna put. I'm actually gonna put Seth Rollins up there because he's doing some great work. He always has been, and I always feel like the comparison between the two is really unfair because they have their own styles. but they contribute to wrestling in a lot of ways, more than one. So that'll be those two there, uh, Kenny Omega and Seth Rollins. And then I can't forget about Okada. Um, just an amazing guy, just, the Rainmaker. And then it's really hard because it's really stacked because there's so much talent right now, and it really sucks to kind of like just say, hey, these are my top four, but these are my personal favorites. And I got to put MJF up there. Can't forget about what he's doing right now, and it's just amazing work. Of course, I mean, again, it's hard to keep just four. Like, there's a plethora of hitting my microphone over here, a plethora of talent. And this goes far back to when we started watching wrestling. Even before wrestling, you always had the top guys. And there's a lot of underrated wrestlers, but these are the guys who kind of affected me and also affected the business in one shape or another. But yeah, I mean, if you guys are listening to this and you got this far, let us know who your Mount Rushmore is. If you want to add maybe like two or three more top, we can do a top 10 list next time of wrestlers. But those are mine. What about you, Tony?
Overall, Hulk Hogan will always be on the Mount Rushmore, my Mount Rushmore of wrestling. I think growing up in the influence that Shawn Michaels did was amazing. His in-ring work, along with Bret the Hitman Hart. Um, that's three. Stone Cold Steve Austin, hands down, has to be on the Mount Rushmore. There is no attitude without Stone Cold. There is no stunner. There is no, oh, hell yeah, drinking beers and whatnot, because that's what we do now. Without Stone Cold, there's no Stone Cold ET out there asking for cheeseburgers and, without Stone Cold. And, I'm going to go with Miguel, and I'm going to say The Undertaker, man, because Undertaker was amazing from the start. Mondo, you and I, this is the Survivor Series. We were young, we were kids. We were actually, after we had our dinner, we went across the street to our friend's house, and we saw the Survivor Series. We had the pencil and the magazine, so we were crossing people out. And when the Undertaker came out, I got chills again. Undertaker comes out. You don't know what to expect. This guy's tall, like Miguel said, throughout the years. He just reinvented himself. Brothers of Destruction, American Badass, and then he got this little MMA fighting style to him. And, he went bald. He grew his hair again. And, he kept on coming back. And I think Undertaker is one of those special attractions. Hell, you even see it in UFC. They use this song. There's baseball. Sometimes they'll see that. Here's a gong. You already know when you hear it what's gonna happen. All of us, we popped WrestleMania 40 when he came out and chokeslammed The Rock. And you can't say enough about the Undertaker and what he's done for this business. And there you go. So Undertaker will be my top five. I think honorable mention would probably be Ric Flair and John Cena, which nobody talked about. John Cena,
Because we can't see him. Where is John?
I think John Cena was another big contributor to what he's done right now, what he's doing or has done in the past. Bringing in that usefulness of kids bringing in to WWE. But honorable mention, Ric Flair and John Cena. That would be my Mount Rushmore. And then if you want to do a top 10 of like current wrestlers, we could save that for another day. But
Nah, baby, that's not for you. That's for somebody else.
And then we could probably go back to Miguel later. If you don't have your Mount Rushmore, man, I get it. There's a lot of wrestlers out there, very influential wrestlers, Miguel. But I think having Stone Cold and the Undertaker up there, damn, that's a badass Mount Rushmore already there. So, all these wrestlers, they they performed and they are performing day in and day out. Back in the 80s and the 90s, almost 300 days out of the year, they would fight twice on Sunday. and they're putting their bodies on the line, and all we can do is just applaud everybody who continues to do that. The indie wrestlers, the people that are coming up right now who want to be just like them, and they know the sacrifices, and they know the hardships, and they know the pain, and the the consequences of having being a wrestler. So don't want to ramble too much, but no, I think it was a fun little question there. But yeah, like Mondo said, if you guys have any your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, let us know in the comment section. We would love to see what you guys are saying. And then also, if you guys are on our Instagram, you could probably put it on there as well. So any of the social medias, that'd be great. But yeah, I had fun, guys. It was a nice little 2 days of wrestling there, and then we're gonna go into Sunday, and then we'll get back into it and with AAA, AEW, and WWE. But any last words before we walk away?
Nah, just looking forward to the weekend and seeing some good wrestling.
Wuzo Wuzzle.
Wuzzle, wuzzle, what the hell? But no, yeah, no, and I agree. Another great week of wrestling. We're looking forward to it, and can't get enough. Won't stop. But yeah, guys. Again, this has been another week of or midweek of the Wrestling. Wow, the Wrestling Trios, the West Coast Trios Wrestling Podcast. Sorry, that threw me off. Again, this is Tony, your host. We got Miguel and we got Mondo. Until next time, guys. Signing off. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, y'all.
Wrestling Podcast.
Wrestling.